Why do autistic people tend to overthink everything?
Hey, what do you think of my new hoodie?
A lot of people think it's because of anxiety or being socially awkward, but that only accounts for a small part of the issue. The real reasons are way more interesting. In this video, we're talking about 5 reasons for autistic overthinking, why it's especially common in late identified autistic adults, and how to work with your brain instead of fighting it. And no, social anxiety isn't on the list. We crave certainty, and the world is uncertain. Autistic brains love predictability. Perfect. Predictable. Like clockwork. We crave structure. We feel safest when the rules are clear. So are we stacking drop 4s or not? Just need some clarity before I emotionally commit. But you know what has no clear rules? Social interaction. Tone of voice, facial expressions, text messages with no punctuation. Hey versus hey versus hey. So our brains go, we don't understand this. Let's analyze it until we do. And by analyze, I mean spiral. But this isn't you being too sensitive or just because of anxiety due to past issues. Socializing is a challenge for autistic people. And it's also because your brain is trying to find certainty in a very messy world. So one thing that has helped me, talk through some of this with the people closest to me, the ones who I can be honest and upfront with. It starts with a, hey, when we message or talk, I just want you to know that you can be honest with me. You don't need to feel the need to say yes to something just because I asked. That'll help me know that when you respond, there's no hidden meanings. Problem solved. Now, if only I could transfer that information to everyone else and not need to re-explain that. Masking trains us to micromanage every response. Many of us spent decades learning to mask, which means we trained ourselves to constantly monitor how we're coming across. We study tone, rehearse responses, edit our facial expressions, filter every word through a mental maze of how will they interpret this? And eventually, we do it automatically, even when we communicate in writing or texts. So you rehearse what to say in a group chat. You write it, you delete it, you rewrite it, you hit send, and then immediately regret it. Or you say nothing at all because you can't figure out how to say it right. But now you can know that overthinking is what happens from years of trying not to get it wrong. And you can't actually control the response of others. And if you're anything like me, you're probably the harshest critic of yourself. So try thinking of yourself as a friend. You can think first, but if you do that and it still doesn't go the way you intended, it's usually going to be okay. Monotropic focus turns one thought into 800. Autistic brains are often monotropic. That means we zero in hard on one thing and tune out the rest. This is great when you're deep in a special interest or creative project. But when that focus lands on something stressful, buckle up. You're about to go full internal documentary mode. Now you're lasered in on something you don't even want to think about, ruminating and spiraling on and on and on. So maybe you said something in a meeting. The laughter told you that no one actually understood what you meant. Otherwise, why would they laugh? And why haven't they put your ideas directly into action? If they got it, they would have gotten right on it. And now, it's day 6 of your internal replay Olympics. You're replaying it, analyzing every syllable, wondering how you can go into work and correct it. Or maybe they did get it. Let's analyze that one more time in slow motion in my brain. So this isn't just social anxiety. It's your brain doing what it's built to do. Laser focus on one thing at a time. It's just aiming that laser at something you'd rather not focus on. Time to sleep? Nope. Gotta keep replaying this. Time for lunch? Not hungry, still busy. Time for another meeting? Shy. We're sensitive to patterns, and social patterns are a mess. Autistic people are often incredible at spotting patterns. We notice details others miss. Tiny changes, we see them. Subtle but consistent reactions to specific things, caught that. But social patterns, they're inconsistent. They change with context, tone, mood, timing, and that unpredictability drives us nuts. And then don't forget that it also changes from person to person. So your friend normally replies to a text message in a few minutes, an hour at most. Today, it's been 6. Now your brain is crafting 3 theories. 1, they suddenly hate you. 2, you bothered them. Or 3, they were kidnapped by pirates and can't get a signal on the open sea. But they might be spotting some awesome sharks, so there's always that. But now you can't rest. You can't do anything because your brain is now analyzing the patterns leading up to this exchange. It's trying to track a pattern that doesn't always exist. And that effort can be completely draining, especially when it turns out your friend just forgot to charge their phone. You've been gaslit into thinking your brain is always the problem. And now let's talk about how many of us grew up, especially if we were undiagnosed. A lot of our patterns of thinking led to problems. And that means that we were told directly and indirectly that our thinking style was wrong, that we were too much, too intense, reading too much into everything. So now, even when we do pick up on something real, we don't trust ourselves. We spiral and we shame ourselves for spiraling. So you might feel tension in a conversation. You sense the vibe has changed, but everyone else says it's fine. So now you're overthinking and gaslighting yourself. And that can feel bad when you start to think your brain is the problem. That's why it's important to remember. Overthinking is what happens when your brain is trying to stay safe in a world that taught you not to trust your own signals. And remind yourself of one other key point, that it might not actually even be overthinking. It's actually just your way of thinking. Reframing it can help you remove the shame you might feel around how you think and process the world. And that's the first step to accepting that you're just working a different operating system. So remember, when your brain goes down the spiral of thinking and analyzing, you're not broken. You're not being too much. You're autistic. And your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do: analyze, protect, and process deeply. Sometimes it's not easy, but it's also part of how you survive. So go easy on yourself, and maybe even forgive yourself for the thing you said back in 2009. What's something you always overthink? Drop it in the comments and stick around for more videos that make sense of your unique autistic brain, like this one.
Yeah, you don't need to say yes to something just because, what?
I got nervous.
Social anxiety isn't on the list.